Yeah, how was Nashville altogether? Nashville's way cooler than what I did.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Dude, it was awesome.
It was absurd. It's
He didn't even get drunk, or like he,
Oh, really?
I never got.
like he tries to
I wasn't
say.
that drunk at all.
He's like,
Huh.
I didn't even get drunk. I'm like,
even get
Daniel, you stole the hot sauce from the taco truck.
Holy shit, dude. We got so fucked up.
And welcome back.
Hey, welcome back.
Rough
What's
draft
up?
research in the house, post holidays, post vacations for pretty much all three of us.
Post fantasy football.
Post fantasy. Well, that was over for me a couple weeks ago.
Me too.
So rip crooning for Poon. You know what I mean? There's always 2023, right, guys?
That's true.
New year,
man.
new me. Happy New Year.
Yeah. Happy New Year.
We knew me here, 2023. Let's do it.
So I guess before we get into the app, Christian,
Yeah,
want to
so
acknowledge some stuff.
yeah, we would feel weird not acknowledging the like terrifying events of Monday Night Football with Damar Hamlin. None of us are the guys to. We don't have any expertise in the medical field. We're not the guys to sit here and talk to you about it for a long time, but it felt weird to not acknowledge it. So obviously thoughts go out to Damar Hamlin and his family. We've been getting better news. Apparently he's been able to write and talk to them.
Huge.
And so that's huge. Hopefully he's doing all right. Hopefully his family's doing all right. And we just kind of hopefully this all moves forward the way it needs to and he gets the help he needs. And even if we don't see him on a football field playing, hopefully he'll be able to join the Bills at least in a ceremonial fashion at some point.
Definitely.
So thoughts out to him, but again, we're not the guys to really go down that road. That's not our wheelhouse. So just wanted to acknowledge it. Crazy stuff. Hopefully he's doing all right and his family as well.
Fantasy nerds, and we're fans of the game, and no one likes to see anything like that happen. So
Yeah, man. It's shocking and
Crazy.
gosh. Just gotta hope he gets better quick and can resume kind of back with his family and everything. So
absolutely. So with that said, away we go. Daniel, I feel like you're the best person to describe this episode.
all right, just what I wanted AJ to say out loud. I think we're doing a stash episode, man. This is kind of like I think there's another waiver for most leagues, and then it gets locked up for the rest of the year. So we wanted to get into a couple of stashes. We each picked a couple of guys for a variety of reasons that we're looking at as maybe guys that are worth a roster spot going into the cold winter of the fantasy off season. So nothing flashy. We don't have any league winners really laid out here, but I think we got some interesting names. If you're flirting with, if you're looking at cutting your last Trey Sermon share and wondering who you're picking up to fill that spot, we might just be able to help you out with that.
Well, and this is another exciting part about fantasy too, right? It's like an opportunity to like plant your flag on a gamble or a hunch, and that's kind of where I get off on the whole thing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, baby.
Or a patient guy, this could have been like Devin Duvernay a couple of years ago or whatever. So it's just just so we can tell ourselves we were right when we did that stash episode last year. That's what we're here for.
Wow. All
That's
right.
all I'm
Future
here for.
kudos.
Is to have video evidence of when I'm right. And then we can delete the shit when I'm wrong and stupid, which is
For sure.
most
Purge the
of
hard drive.
2022 for me. Most of it I was wrong.
I'll cut that out. We're good. Yeah.
Hey man, the highs are highs and sometimes the lows are low.
That's true.
Well, shoot. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it, eh?
Why don't you?
I'll jump into it. I'm going to start with a quarterback, and it was funny in our text chain, Christian, you said, like, man, that was a lot tougher than I thought. And it really was.
Very difficult.
Especially in the leagues we're in. We're in, like, highly competitive leagues, so it's there's not a lot out there. But we combed through, and I'm going to start with Skylar Thompson, rookie quarterback in Miami. I don't know. Obviously, this is only like a super flex move. I mean, I guess one QB league, only because of the massive amount of talent in the receiver room. 2,000-yard receivers. That's mostly with Tua. But Tua's out week 18. This is an audition for him to go up against a really good Jets defense. We'll kind of see what this offense can do without a Tua, without Teddy Bridgewater. And, a Shanahan clone offense with Mike McDaniels. We see Brock Purdy somewhat thriving, successful, winning games. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what you want in the NFL. So I thought it was worth a stash, at least for the Week 18, if you got a spot open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's not sugarcoat it. We don't know what the Tua injury situation is. We have no idea if he's going to decide, to walk away after the 3 concussions. He was already talking about it
Right.
after he missed games earlier in the year. So we don't know. Maybe Skylar Thompson might be the starter next year. I would doubt it. Even if Tua came back, I would imagine they'd bring somebody else in.
Right.
But yeah, I like the move. He's got the weapons around him, like you're saying. Like he's in an environment to be successful.
Right.
Yeah, and when you're looking down the road, if Tua's not able to play next year, Bridgewater's no longer on this roster. Neither is a single running back under contract, and the O-line depth is weak. There's not a lot going on at tight end, and this team has had to forfeit its first-round pick, and they're over the cap already. So it's looking like, they're not going to be able to find any super strong competition if Tua's not able to play. So
Right.
it could be a pretty healthy stash.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world where Tua's comes into next year. They're prepping Tua to be there. Maybe an unfortunate injury happens, or if he continues to not be healthy and decides to step away, and they were planning that all along. I mean, backup quarterback just steps in. Let's go.
Yeah,
Heck
possibly.
yeah.
All right, kick it over to Christian.
Yeah, let's do it. I got a tight end for you guys. Colby Parkinson out of Seattle. Pretty interesting here. Will Dissly got injured against the Chiefs and was placed on IR. And everyone kind of just assumed, okay, well, that means Noah Fant's going to be the de facto tight end 1 in Seattle. But not so fast. According to WaterWire, Colby Parkinson played 80% of the snaps at tight end, as opposed to Noah Fant's 63%. And Parkinson out-targeted him 7-3. And he turned those 7 targets into 5 catches, 36 yards, and a touchdown. Parkinson 6'7", 252, pretty good size for a tight end. He'll be 24 next season. That is not old whatsoever. And here's the thing. I think the offense could open up for him. Will Dissly has an out in 2023. They could save $4 million by cutting him. It's going to suck. He's on IR, but seems like a move they might make. Noah Fant's not going anywhere. His dead cap hit is his exact same amount as his cap hit, so there'd be no reason to cut him. But they're already using Parkinson above him. So to me, Parkinson's going to be on the last year of his rookie deal next year. And when I say he's 24, I meant he's 24 next year. He's 23 right now. So I think they're going to want to take a look at him. And he's a guy who had 87 catches for 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns throughout college over 3 years. And he's available in 91% of sleeper leagues. So I think grabbing him and just kind of seeing what they do in week 18 with him and Fant, like you could sneakily pick up the starting tight end for the Seattle Seahawks.
I like that. Yeah, especially if they get the upgrade under center, you know what I mean? It's going to be nothing but good stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, this is spicy. I know we all have tight ends, so I'm just going to make this the tight end segment, Tight ends never get any love from us around here.
That's true.
So
we should.
Yeah, so you talk about old people, young people, old people. Well, I'm looking at Cole Turner, man.
Mhm.
You guys know. Oh! Love us some
I was late.
guys. Don't worry. His name will be coming up plenty. Oh, coming down the road. Because, Logan Thomas, man. Logan Thomas had that huge 2020 year where he was the PPR tight end 3, right? Well, now he's missing 14 games over the past 2 seasons. He'll be 32 years old next year. They're going to need someone young to step up. And I think Cole Turner is that guy. He didn't get a lot of play this year, but I'm going to give you my voodoo math. And you can call it cherry picking. You can call it flat biased. I don't care what you call it. But this team operated with 2 running backs getting 58 targets this year, and neither of them were Brian Robinson. And I know what you're thinking. Brian Robinson was just slow on the numbers because he got shot and missed some time or whatever. No, this dude is limping in with
Whoa.
with oh my god.
Whoa.
He's limping in with 12 targets, man. And that's hilarious. And you might think, yeah, he missed some time, 12 targets compared to 58 by 2 other guys. Makes sense, but he actually led the team in carries by more than 56 carries over Antonio Gibson. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if Brian Robinson is the guy that's on the field, he probably won't be getting passed to, and that will open up the door for Cole Turner to, step into his second year in the NFL, take on a bigger role, and probably have a Logan Thomas, who was kind of a one and done, as his only competition. The other guy besides Antonio Gibson to get 58 targets in this offense was J.D. McKissick. He will be 30. He's on the last year of a 2-year deal. And then you've got the big 3, the wide receiver room. Obviously, Terry's awesome. You got Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson. So those guys are solid. I think if they can get someone under center that can really spread the ball around, we might be looking at some like Dawson Knox type potential in a Cole Turner if you can.
I like that.
If you can just wait it out, man.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm
And
about.
we get to see old Sam Howell this weekend too. We might get to see if that's the guy they ride in. What if he balls out for 4 touchdowns and 2 of them go to Cole Turner? Let's go.
Damn.
Hey,
Cole
easily
Turner
could happen, man.
He's no stranger to a 2-touchdown game. You know what I mean?
That's right, dude. Woo. He was a serious touchdown threat in college with the Wolf Pack. Oh! So, yeah.
All right, well, I'll keep this train rolling with a tight end because I got one, and his name's Jake Ferguson in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know this. He's 6'5", 244. Do you happen to know how big Dalton Schultz is? 6'5", 244.
Oh.
It's almost like they scouted a carbon copy of a guy who's on his last year of a contract. He did get the tag last year. I mean, even if Dalton Schultz gets tagged again, I think Jake Ferguson is worth looking at to just roster and just wait.
Oh, yeah.
Has the pedigree, grandson of the legendary Coach Barry Alvarez.
Wow.
Out of Wisconsin. So he's no stranger to the game. He's a receiving threat. He's had flashes already this year. But unfortunately, Dalton Schultz, I want to say Dawson Knox. Dalton Schultz is a tight end 1, man, and he's heavily involved in this offense with Dak Prescott not going anywhere. CeeDee Lamb, the shining star. Tony Pollard, another guy stepping up, even if Zeke is, I don't know, Zeke's just going to be Zeke. I really like the pickup. I like what he can be.
Hell yeah, man.
Honestly, this was our assignment for the episode, that was one of the first names I thought of, but you had already had him. I like Jake Ferguson a lot. I don't see the Cowboys spending the money to bring Dalton Schultz back unless it's a franchise tag, but even then,
they don't have it, man.
They don't have it, and then like you're saying, they have a guy that can play the same role. So just let Dalton Schultz go make his money and start working with Jake Ferguson. I like it a lot. I would be interested in picking him up in most of my leagues.
Too late, mother sucker.
Yeah, dude, we're supposed to be unrostered stashes. AJ just picks 3 guys on his roster that he's already
that I
stashing.
stashed.
Fucking crazy,
Well,
man.
But it's
To
like,
be-
my work is honest. All right.
yeah, that's fair.
You practice what you preach, man.
I did one of those guys, but I had to pivot, which leads me to real quick. I want to throw in my honorable mentions. I had two, both wide receivers. One is Amari Rogers. I just didn't want to bring him up because we've talked about him a ton on this podcast for a guy who really hasn't done much, but I do like him on the Texans. I think when they let him be just a slot receiver, he's a lot better than trying to be this gadget guy. And I don't know, he's worth a look with a team that might want to use him like that. And then Denzel Mims was the other guy. I thought it was his contract year. That was why I first had him down, started looking into it. It's not his contract year, it's next year. But I do think he's either a cut or a trade candidate, or I did notice this. Corey Davis has an $11 million cap hit next season and $666,000 in dead cap money. I would almost guarantee that Corey Davis gets cut. And if they don't bring in somebody to replace him, Mims kind of slides into that third receiver role with Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. And if they bring in a new quarterback, which is probably what they're going to do, could be spicy. Anyway, I'll speed through this guy. Olamide Zaccheaus was the other one I wanted to do. He's an undrafted free agent, or sorry, not undrafted, unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. I don't think he'll get brought back by the Falcons, but even if he does, it's a good sign because it means the Falcons want to use him, and he's their number one slot guy right now. And even with as bad as the Falcons' offense has been the last 2 seasons, he still put up over 50 targets, 30 catches, and 400 yards in back-to-back seasons. Not crazy numbers, but decent, like cheap wide receiver numbers that you could go out there and get. And I think a lot of teams want like a proven slot guy. I mean, we just saw Christian Kirk break the bank. Zaccheaus has not put up nearly the numbers that Christian Kirk has. But if a slot receiver needy team needs somebody on the cheap, Zaccheaus might be that guy. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And he's available in 64% of sleeper leagues.
Oh yeah.
So
I see a good potential for him to stick around Atlanta, man, because there's no one
Yeah.
else. Just Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and that's
yeah, I guess they just have so much money that I
They
don't know
might
what
get fancy.
Yeah, you might go upgrade for whatever quarterback you're going to bring in.
Don't forget
But
to spend
maybe
that
not.
money to downgrade. Spend all that money to downgrade. That's what everybody does. I love it. Love to see it. Am I right, Broncos? Let's ride.
Ooh, that's right.
Let's ride.
Well, I'll get into stash. You're already talking the Jets, man. I'm going to put it out Ty Johnson there, you know?
Okay.
He's a free agent next year. There's virtually no chance of him going back to the Jets. You know, they've got Bam and then Brees and then Michael, you know. I mean, if you know the Jets like we know the Jets, you don't need last names.
James Robinson.
That's what we do. James Robinson, he's a free agent next year.
Oh yeah.
But so this guy's only 25 years old. You know, he's 5'10", 210. You know, we say 5'10", 210 a lot in the drafting area. It's a good size to be.
We got a type.
He's 25, like I said, but he doesn't have a ton of work. He's got just around 200 career carries. But it might surprise you that his career average is 4.5 yards per carry. So that's pretty impressive to me. And he's got 84 catches for 655 yards. So he's been pretty well utilized at times in the passing game, as evidenced last year when he tied Michael Carter with targets, 55. And he's had some also pop running games. He doesn't get the opportunity, but he does seem capable. He only has one game with over 15 carries, but in that game, he ended up with a score and 100 yards on the ground. In this past year, he wasn't really used too much as a runner, but on his 25 rush attempts, he did have 6 broken tackles, which is a pretty good number. So there's nothing like crazy that would make you seem like he's going to be a league winner or anything like that. But in a tough year for it to be a running back free agent like this, I think that he might sneak into a place where he might have an opportunity as a depth piece to get out there and show up if an injury comes through. So
Yeah, which you need to have those guys on your roster, those break glass in case of emergency type guys. And I think it makes a lot of sense. And you already hit it. The only fear is that the running back free agent class and the draft class is so stacked that he could get kind of lost in that shuffle. But like you're saying, he may end up on a really good team with like just somewhere on that running back depth chart, and then injury happens and now he's the starter or whatever. So yeah, he's a good name to have around if you've got the space to carry him for sure.
yeah, if he ends up anywhere like Baltimore or Arizona or the Rams, where it's just like
Yeah.
we're always going to need like 4 running backs to get through the year,
Yeah.
then you might just be onto something.
Well, I'll take that and carry it into my break glass in case of emergency kind of a running back. And that is Dearness Johnson out of the Cleveland Browns. He is 5'10", 208.
Oh,
Not quite that 210.
no. Eat a cheeseburger.
The one
Get
thing
out.
is, he is 26 years old. He'll be 27 at the start of the next year, next season. And as we've all said on this podcast through our RB longevity episodes, that 27 mark is usually the dead age. But with this guy, it's just going into his 5th year in the league. He's only had 141 total carries in 4 years. So maybe a little more tread on the tires. He hasn't been used that much, but when he has been, not bad. In 2021, played 3 games when he had 69% of the snap share or higher. He averaged 23 carries, 122 yards, and a TD. He's got a career average of 7.4, and I could see him being kind of like a good cheap rental for a season for a team like Chicago, where maybe they're going through a rebuild, and maybe let's just bring in this guy, quality guy for $2 million, nice contract while we rebuild. But also, I could also see him going to a team like the Buffalo Bills, where they already have a James Cook who is the receiving back, and maybe this could be that what they wanted Zach Moss to be kind of thing. So, got him stashed on my bench, and I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. Miami's another good option. They like to rotate those guys,
Yeah.
and he could find a good little rotation down there. But yeah, like you're saying, every time we've seen him, he's looked great. He just can't get on the field because he was on the same team as Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Right.
So you just don't see the field. But it's not because he's a bad player. He's a good player. So no, it's smart. I don't have a running back, weirdly. But I
He's a
do.
running back guru. That's
I
how we
know.
know there's no good ones.
For shame.
Shit.
So I went another receiver here. This is where I pivoted. So I cheated a little bit because I do have Rashid Shaheed on my roster in 2 of my leagues. But he's available in 36% of sleeper leagues, which is a little less than all these other guys. So go get him while you can. But he's quietly having a pretty impressive rookie season, undrafted out of Weber State. And don't worry if you don't know where Weber State is, because neither did I. So I looked it up for everybody. It's Ogden, Utah.
Oh,
Wherever
duh.
the hell that is.
Duh.
Yeah, exactly. Undrafted out of Utah. Since week 12, he has 22 targets. Remember, the Saints bye week was week 14, so that's only 5 games. So he's averaging just over 4 a game. 343 yards in that span, 69 per game. Only 1 touchdown. That's disappointing. But he's averaging almost 12 PPR points per game,
Hell yeah.
which isn't crazy numbers. But remember, the Saints are bad this season. They don't have a lot of cap space, so it's not like they're going to go out and bring in all kinds of competition for Shaheed. They don't have their first round pick either, I don't believe.
Been traded it to move up.
The Eagles
So-
got it.
to go get Olave. And so there's not going to be premium talent coming in and challenges this guy. And this guy's earned his spot on the field. He'll be 25 next season. The QB situation's obviously scary, but if you have 10, 15 minutes and you just want to watch some ball and you don't know who, go check out Shaheed, man. He's quick. He's fast. He looked electric with the ball in his hands. If he gets a quarterback in there, could be fun. He's always going to be second fiddle to Olave. Obviously, he's not going to take that over. But I mean, I don't know, like a low end Deshaun Jackson type vibes. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I like him a lot. He's worth stacking. He's at least produced. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't know. He's
I
worth a
like him a
look.
lot.
No, he's been crushing it lately. Like he looks good, and like you said, he is a lot of fun to watch.
Mhm.
Like we may never see Michael Thomas out on a field again, so here we
I
go.
would bet not.
Yeah, so I mean, he's talk about having a hell of a end to the year.
Who
This
needs
guy's
a-
doing it.
Who needs a Buckeye when you could have a
Weber State
Weber?
or
State?
just Weber University.
Oh man, they were like some kind
Weber.
of cat, I think.
Yeah, the Wildcat.
Yeah,
Waldo,
Wildcat.
Waldo the Wildcats.
Where's Waldo? Oh, he's over at Weber.
He's over at Weber State.
Would be a good place to be. Weber State. Weber's not a state. They're very confusing.
Oh, it was a Mormon church college until
Oh.
1933.
Oh, they just changed their way. That's
Yeah.
progressive.
Yeah,
They missed it.
They were ahead of the game.
It was like
1933.
that was back
1933. They
before
were
it
like,
was cool to be Mormon back. So
Right.
they were like, "This is getting way too cool for us. We're out."
yeah.
Well, that's cool. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out where this guy went to college. I think I saw it a minute ago, but I'm gonna jump into Richie James if that's appropriate.
I can find that answer while you jump in.
Okay, sounds good. What the week 17 wide receiver 8 Richie James? Who?
Middle Tennessee State.
Oh yeah, I guess I should have known. I saw that earlier, but oh what? Weeks 11 through 17, the wide receiver 12, a wide receiver 1. Wow, this guy is amazing. Obviously, he benefits from Daniel Jones being the QB4 over that time period from 11 to 17. And what else is he benefiting from? Well, this guy is his 5th year. He's 27 years old right now. And this seems like a flash in the pan, but I wouldn't go that far. He's got 17% of the team's receiving yards. He's got a quarter of the team's receiving touchdowns. And he's going into next year with just the ghost of Kenny Golladay, Isaiah Hodges, and Wandale Robinson to compete with. So one thing to note about him, though, is he is 5'9", 185. And if you remember the glorious weeks 11 through 17, there was another 185-pound wide receiver that was on this team, not playing at the time, and Wandale Robinson injured. So that's when Richie James stepped in and really competed at a high level. So I don't know for sure if there's room for 285-pound guys to get out there and make it happen next year. But I do know that Richie James has kind of done enough to definitely guarantee an amount of work going forward. And with injury risk for smaller guys like, Robinson apparently has had a little ups and downs with that, I think he's a guy you could put on your roster. As far as cap space goes, this team's going to have to address the, bring Saquon back, probably the bring Daniel Jones back situation. And so we might not be seeing a decent wide receiver room in New York for yet another year to come. And Richie James, I mean, if you're doing it, keep doing it. You know what I mean? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm with you. He's earned a spot on the roster even when guys come back. I do think that Daniel Jones pretty much earned his job with the win, getting the Giants into the playoffs. It would take an absolute meltdown, I think, to shake the foundation on Daniel Jones right now in New York, and that's why I think they will try to invest and kind of like build weapons around him with what they can. Like you're saying, you got to bring Saquon back, and then you got to figure out what to do with Daniel Jones' contract. But they do have $54 million. They could make some moves. But you're right. Richie James has played too well to not demand playing time next year. Like he's excelled in the offense, which is more than you can say for most of the receivers. One that they're paying millions to, who hasn't even caught on. So I worry about him getting replaced or kind of lost in the shuffle, like somebody we were talking about earlier, Ty Johnson, I think. But I like where your head's at because, yeah, especially with Wandale's already hurt. If he gets hurt, then Richie James will at least take over that role and pretty much be producing the same way he has been lately. So,
13 million due to Kenny Galladay next year.
Oh.
Just so everyone knows, potential out 2024 for Kenny Galladay. I'm pretty sure they're going to take it.
Yeah,
Pretty
I'd imagine
taking that one. Ugh.
Well,
Shit, did we just stash it up? Did we just shave the stash?
That's the stash.
Dang, dude. That's awesome. That's awesome that you got all three of your guys on your roster already.
God damn it.
Speaks volumes for the quality of your squad.
Oh my god, dude. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Daniel, always a pleasure.
Hey, only champ in the house tonight, baby. Thank you, Mike Evans.
Congrats.
Me 13.
Yeah, Mike Evans went the fuck off.
Me 13, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Adios.
Peace out.